Cody. In a 10-team lineup, start 10. Do you want Kyler Murray and Amon-Ra St. Brown or DJ Moore, Joe Burrow, and Achane?
Break this one down first. Going Kyler Murray and Joe Burrow. I think you got to match up the quarterbacks first. For me personally, we go to 10-team. I don't see that much separation between the two, so I think you can actually just wash those out. Say Amon-Ra St. Brown or DJ Moore and Achane. And while I do like my boy out of Texas A&M, Achane, I'm going to go with the wide receiver here in a start 10 team. Give me the absolute hammer. Even though those other guys are good, I'm actually going to take Kyler in the ARSB side.
Ooh, let's talk about it.
Okay, let's get it. Bitch, let's get it. Woo!
And I'm joined today by one of the main staples in the Destination Debbie Heisman group. You know him from the Overreaction podcast. He's one half of the fantasy draft room. Cody Smith, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Being called up from the minors to the big boy levels here for the trade show in replacement. We're backfilling rosters just like we do in Dynasty, man. So happy to be here and happy to just talk some shop and get some trades going here in the hopper.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Where can people find you on the old X app?
At Cody Smith TFDR, and check out my other half as well at Trophy Chase TFDR.
Yeah, we'll have to get old Chase on here sometime. But to start, let's get right into it. So, Cody, you're on the side here of Amon-Ra St. Brown, taking the best player in the deal, which I really can't follow you in a 10-team, right? You want 10-team start 10, give me the hammers. But does the chance at 3 positional difference makers over 2 sway you anyway? Do you think that DJ Moore in that hopefully revamped Bears offense and Achane, do you think that there's enough of a chance that you can find the positional difference makers between the 3, or you're consolidating into Amon-Ra St. Brown, huh?
It definitely could, but I'm still going to go with the consolidation method because DJ Moore coming in with Keenan Allen, a rookie quarterback, and I mean, we all know it's Caleb at this point, but what does that really look like? New offensive system as well. So I'm not as confident in the DJ Moore side to be that true putting up points to the Amon-Ra St. Brown level. Achane as well. I mean, you've still got Mostert re-signing a 2-year deal. So what does that really look like? Does the 8 yards plus per carry efficiency really carry over to 2024? I typically don't lean on that to be the normal going forward. Expect a little bit of variance back to the mean, right? So if I'm going to go in this 10-team start 10, even if it is 3 starters, I think the true hammer is still Amon-Ra, and the difference of quarterback isn't enough to separate out from me. What about you?
It's a 10-team league, right? So we talk about how the quarterback scarcity isn't really there. So Kyler, Burrow, you can love one over the other, but it's really take your pick. So I break it down kind of the same way, right? Amon-Ra for DJ Moore and Achane. I see you have that Amon-Ra St. Brown jersey behind you too, which, I mean, again, you're going hammer hunting, right? I think there's more risk on, trying to take on 2 assets for 1. I think if this is best ball, I feel completely differently. But in a lineup, start 10-team start 10, so the equivalent of a 12-team start 8, I'm just going to take the chance on Amon-Ra St. Brown, just giving me what I need from that wide receiver position and being able to figure out roster construction at my other wide receiver and running back spots. But I'm not scoffing at this deal at all. I think you can see this as a quarterback upgrade. And then again, a chance at 2 positional difference makers over just the 1. But it's a good deal. It's a good deal.
Do you think it is? That's how you tier up in those type of leagues.
For sure. All right. I mean, Ginger Dude, we don't really have any settings here. So, all right. Do you want Christian McCaffrey 2-9 and a 4th, or Aaron Jones, JSN, and 3 first, 1 and 25 from old Big Steebo, 1 and then 2 and 26. Let's call it a 12-team start 10.
I'm looking at 3 firsts. I don't care what years they have on them. I love Christian McCaffrey, but you better be in the most hammer hunting leagues and be primed to just add CMC to your roster and win the championship no matter what. 3 firsts. I mean, I don't know how you get there on the other side.
Right. Because I mean, let's say Aaron Jones for 2-9. Is that pretty much where it's at?
I would even have him over that probably in most typical formats if I was leaning into it. Also, why are you sending away Aaron Jones if you're taking on Christian McCaffrey, right?
Right.
It seems opposed on both ends of that scale as well. You just throw a nice JSN in there as well.
Right.
I don't see how we really have much discussion on this one, to be honest. You're slaughtering that receive side.
It's really not. If you want to throw the fourth in with a 2-9, then yeah, JSN and 3 first for CMC. I love CMC. We love hammers, but yeah, give me the package. I can do a lot with that package. So good work, Ginger Dude. All right, we have Ace in a 12-team start 10 Superflex PPR 0.5 tight end premium lineup. Going for hammers. So on one side of the ledger, we have Tyreek Hill and Justice Hill. We got the 2 hills, so a couple hills. Zach Moss and a 25 first. Stop blotting out the names, people. You know the deal at this point. On the other side, we got DJ Moore, once again, Smitty, Devontae Smith, Rico Dowell, and Trey Palmer. Okay, Cody, in a 12-team start 10, is Reek in a first hammer enough versus Moore, Smitty, and God, you have to have that Trey Palmer in a 12x10, right?
Oh yeah, that Trey Palmer and even Rico Dowdle is just probably going to be another running back on a 53 by the time that we get to the season. We'll see here what the Cowboys do, but I love this Tyreek and a first, and you get Zach Moss side. I could, if you want to just say in Dynasty overall value, you can go Tyreek and DJ Moore, who probably close to wash out, but I'd still pretty heavily lean Tyreek Hill there. A first and Zach Moss for Devonta Smith, Justice Hill, and then you start talking about the ancillary pieces. If you're trying to go for that hammer hunter, yeah, let's go with the top side. I like what our boy did here, I think, and getting Tyreek Hill because I don't think he's going to not block out his own name.
Right, that's fair. Right, and I mean, that's where if you're hammer hunting, how do you get a first as well? Right. That's where I don't get it. Right. So yeah, if you're going to be Hill and a first, I kind of break it down the same way you do. Right. Hill and whatever receiver you want to cross it off. I'll take Hill for the production and the other receiver probably for dynasty value. All right. The first plus Moss for whatever other receivers left. And then it's Hill for Dowdle and Palmer, which I like Palmer in best ball, but in a 12x10 lineup, Palmer's never really making my lineup. So yeah,
good chance he's drafted over. So yeah, like that's just absolute gap filler spots.
Correct. All right, Dynasty Alex always bringing the great settings here. We got a 12-team PPR Superflex best ball. Here we go. Start 11, 2 tight end with a 0.75 tight end premium, Cody. 0.1 PPC, point per carry, point per completion, whatever you want to say at this point, and a 6-point passing touchdown. We'll go over the context in a second. But Cody, Justin Fields, Tank Dell, and a 25 third, or Antonio Gibson, the 211, the 3.6, and 109.
Okay, so looking at it first here, let's just wash out the thirds. I punt one into the future. We don't really need to see anything more there. Tank Dell and a 109. I think I could probably get behind, especially with the addition of Stephon Diggs, that's roughly equal value, maybe a little bit extra built into there. But then you really get into the Justin Fields and Antonio Gibson in the 211 for me is kind of where I'm going to. And I like that type of a deal, man, to acquire a Justin Fields. I've been Justin Fields hater numero uno, maybe not on this channel, maybe not on the Destination Devi radio feed, but on my podcast specifically, man, Justin Fields hater, number one, maybe besides Jay Rich. Jay Rich might have had me, but at this point, when the cost is this low, why would you not? Because if he gets any start, you know the community is going to buy back in. I think this is a very creative way to buy some Justin Fields.
Yeah, I agree. Punt the thirds. Who cares? Dell for 109. That's where my mind goes to. Like I said, the context is hate to let go a chance at Brian Thomas Jr., but the field shares must go up. So in a best ball league, I'm less inclined to want to pay up for Justin Fields when I don't know, what the opportunity is truly going to look like. But I love Fields like a quarterback 4 or 5, especially if I build my roster like old Cody and Chase love to do, which is piecemeal together that quarterback position and get hammers elsewhere. So I get it. I think Gibson and 211 for Fields is where it all kind of boils down for me. And Gibson isn't enough of a running back to really make me feel great in best ball. He's like the 8th or 9th guy I wanted to slap on there, especially, coming down the stretch if I need another starter. 211 for Justin Fields. I mean, based on what our guy Scott Connors reported in these dynasty streets, that feels probably about the price right now. So I'll take Fields, Dell in the third here as well. I think I can do more with that third in 25 than I can in this year. And yeah, Hate to let go of the BTJ, but yeah.
Any portion of this that maybe just because it's best ball and you are getting the 4 for 3 that could lean you the other side, because I could kind of get there if that's the picture. And if Justin Fields doesn't start, you are holding a 0 actually during that because it is the best ball roster and not a lineup. I could see it being a little bit more even because of settings.
Yeah, and the settings always make it interesting, and best ball always makes you kind of double and triple check. But what I'm thinking here, like if I'm getting the 109 and I'm moving like a Tank Dell and a Fields and a third, why am I also getting Gibson back in that deal? Like it just doesn't fully line up for me, right? I'm either trying to get youthful, flexible, which Gibson isn't, or I'm trying to win, which Gibson really isn't getting me there either. And like I'm sending away Tank Dell, who, yeah, Diggs is in town. Yeah, like there's competition, but like it doesn't make sense to me why I would take that other side of it.
Just hoping for a later flip date if he was ever to actually get a role in New England and they don't draft another running back. Ramondre goes down, RB horde, I guess, at that point, right? Just try to flip.
We know people love to pay up for those New England running backs. So, all right, we got 10 team, 1 quarterback, Cody, 1 quarterback, start 9. It's not an active league. I can try to make this big, but it's not going to work. So I'm just going to read it off. On one side, we got the 1 quarterback, 104. So Bowers, maybe Odunze, right? I don't see a tight end premium, so who knows? Maybe Brian Thomas Jr. You're sending away Calvin Ridley, Dalton Schultz, 1-8 and 1-7 in a 1 quarterback league. Cody, is the 1-4 high enough of a tier up in 1 quarterback to give away just all that package and a 10 team start 9?
10 team start 9, so you're only putting 90 players out there. But honestly, man, as bad as we are at drafting, I actually think I'm taking the package here. And one of the few times that you will probably ever see on this channel where it's a 10-team start 9 and you're going to argue for a package side here. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's 3 picks. We're probably hitting on about a 50% hit rate within those picks. And you're going to give me, I mean, they're probably not starter range in a 10-team start 9. It's shallow as hell, but man, I don't see how you couldn't go that side and just bet on being right in the draft and the other person being wrong. I actually like the package side here, and it's against pretty much everything we talk about normally in this type of a lineup setting, but I have to go that way.
If this is 102, it's a smash for me, right?
Yeah,
but
agreed.
104, I think we went over this with a Conja trade before. In a 1 quarterback league, like, what is the 104, man? Is it really like that much of an advantage to pay up to get to? I'm not there with you. I'm there. I'm actually leaning the package here because, I mean, again, 1-7, 1-8. I'm just going to assume that I can figure out a wide receiver, maybe a running back who, maybe it can find some weeks in my lineup. Ridley is not nothing. Again, in a 10-team start 9, he's bottom of the barrel threshold option for me, likely. And Schultz, without knowing the tight end premium, who knows? You're the Texans fan in the room here, but I'm leaning the package. It doesn't make sense to me to move all that just to get to 104, unless you can take that 104 and get higher, or that 104 is the key to unlocking something else on your roster. Cool. I'm just going to lean package.
Yeah, can't get there for me. The only thing maybe, like, I'm assuming a 10-team start 9, you don't have a tight end premium at all, and that's why it's not mentioned here. But if it was high and you could get either Bowers or Odunze there, and it was a premium pick, then maybe. But in what I'm assuming here, no way that I could do that.
Mm-hmm. All right, just really quick, the thought process here. So let's say that is Bowers. Would you trade on top of Dalton Schultz, Calvin Ridley, and 2 firsts to get up to Bowers in a 1 quarterback league?
Yes, because it's a 10-team start 9. And I need upside difference making level positions there. I don't need Dalton Schultz. He's replaceable week over week, even though I like Dalton Schultz still. And I don't think that like Stephon Diggs absolutely nukes his value or anything like that, like some people do. I need a difference maker. And so I'll take the upside shot on Bowers. And I do actually think it, even if it is 3 pieces on top, perfectly fine with it.
Right. It's good. You got to just take your bets. Take your bets on the difference makers, and that could pay off. But I'll just bet the package that I can. I'll take my bet on the package on that one. Cody, really quick, 12-team start 11. CJ Stroud or Kyler Murray in a 25 first. Call it mid to late.
Kyler first, no question.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we can talk all day about Stroud's value and how he's QB1 on KTC. good luck actualizing that value. I'll take any first on top of a quarterback like Kyler to take that tier down. Thank you. 10-team Superflex, 0.5 PPR, start 4 wide receivers, 2 tight end, and 2 flex. A 10-teamer here, Cody. CMC or Baker Mayfield and Rachaad White. I'll tell you this. In a 10-team, Baker Mayfield, I love the guy. Not really moving the needle for me in a 10-team. And I'm just going to make the bet on CMC outproducing Rachaad White by a solid margin.
Same exact thought process that I had. Maybe if you go into 12-team Superflex, that quarterback's a little bit more highly valued. Know your league. Maybe it's not that same thing within your own market. But Baker Mayfield here doesn't really move the needle for me like it would in a 12-team, 14-team Superflex. So, yeah, just give me a hammer CMC. I have no doubts outside of injury that he will highly outproduce Rachaad White. And so Baker Mayfield doesn't mean much here for me.
Yeah. Does getting the quarterback and the running back on the same team factor into the deal at all for you? Like, I usually don't like to stack those two unless it's like a high-end receiving option, maybe like a CMC and a Purdy. But
I mean, Rachaad White right now is a high receiving option for this team. He does catch a good amount of passes, but it's in the current state that it's in right now. And I think there's a good chance that this team could add a running back at some point in the draft because you don't need Rachaad White. While he was good at it last year, you don't need him taking on 80% of the work in this workhorse role that doesn't really exist in the NFL anymore. I think they've addressed that, and so it goes down a little bit. It's a little bit of added value, but still 10-team Superflex league, I don't really care about the stack that much. That's more of like a underdog best ball thing.
That's fair. I agree. Cody, 12-team, start 10 with some crazy settings that don't fully apply except for maybe the big end bonuses. Rashee Rice or Amari Cooper?
Give me Rice still. I'm not hitting the panic button that much as I do love myself the old crusties. Amari Cooper has never really realized that overall just points per game scoring potential over a consistent amount of time. So I'm not really leaning into the Rashee Rice is going 25 to lifetime right now. So I'll still take him.
Yeah. Since our last show, Rashee Rice was found with 10 megawatts of that lettuce. The actual speed came out of what they again, until we hear anything, I'm just going to assume that Rice is going to play football.
The big thing was the felony charges, but all of those are, I mean, I'm not a lawyer. We're not trying to give legal advice here, but I assume all those get brought down to misdemeanor level from everything that I've been reading. So I expect maximum 2-game suspension.
Yeah, I'll just take the shot on Rice here. Once all of this passes, which again, unless he gets 25 to life, which I don't see happening, once this passes, he's still going to be Rashee Rice in a Kansas City offense over a crusty wide receiver that you could barely get a second for on a good day. Yeah,
agreed.
Give me Rice. 14-team Superflex, 0.5 PPR, 0.5 tight end premium, a start 9. So 14 teams start 9, 12 teams start 11. Pick should be mid to late. On one side, we got Jordan Love and Zach Ertz. On the other side, we got Greg Dortch, a 25 first and a 25 second. Cody, give me Jordan Love and a 14-teamer.
14-team. I was going to have you reread the settings to me because I missed that first little part. 14-team. I know it's only start 9, but Superflex here, come on. And you're actually going to give me a guy that I think is extremely undervalued in Zach Ertz. The last time that he was with Cliff Kingsbury, he was getting 10 targets a game for 50 yards because he just catches it at 5 yards deep and falls over. But still, you're going to do that and in a tight end premium league? Come on, what are we doing?
Come on, man. Come on. Yeah. Like Zach Ertz, like he could perish tomorrow. Right. Oh, yeah. I still want the Jordan Love side of this. Like 14 teams start 9, 0.5 tight end premium. It's not a lot. I'll still take Ertz over Dortch. Right. Dortch, I don't know what that really means to me unless, like, say you're a Kyler owner, you really, really, really want to plug that Dortch into your lineup. But yeah, Love for a first and a second. I've never fully agreed with the KTC price on Jordan Love and how high he's risen in such a short amount of time after apparently everyone hated him and now they don't. So whatever. I'm still going to take Jordan Love over a first and a second.
Exactly. I mean, normal price would be 2 first, and then you put the context around it. Everything here leans that receive side for me.
Right. So give me 30 seconds on it. How does a 14-teamer change that for you?
So whenever you're just looking at it's a complete scarcity market driven type of analysis, right? So you're looking at the Jordan Love side, your first and second, who even knows where those picks align, so that you might not even be able to get a quarterback at those picks if you were to just hold them, sit them, and you had to go all the way through. Could you buy another one? Yes, but just that scarcity creates such a condensed market where you need these quarterbacks. Even if it is start 9, the quarterback scarcity doesn't change in the Superflex position because you're starting 28 of them a week if you're actually maximizing the overall potential of your lineup within this format. So just it's fully scarcity driven. It's very hard to operate in. This is where you can really do kind of like that QB horde type of stuff as well. We don't know all of the context around this one, but pretty much in almost any circumstance, unless you have like a 5 quarterback build and you just want to sell off for some liquidation, then you got to go. I could see in that situation, and then we don't know where the projected 25 first, 25 second are. That could change things as well. Like if those project to be top 3, definitely a different story, but we can't just see that from here. So with what context we have and the information that we have, we got to go left side though.
Yeah. Like pick should be mid to late. So I'm not like, I'm even thinking like, if that's like an early 25 first, that's a lot more interesting. I'm still going to take the chance on Love because I'm just going to bet that I can still get that return at some other point in a 14 team league. And I think having Jordan Love makes me more flexible than a first and a second would, even if I have that quarterback advantage. But that was a really good breakdown. I appreciate that. And that was good. Startup trade. Okay. Startup trade. All right. So 605 or a first and a second. I'm just going to pull up some ADP here really quick. Let's see how fast I can do this. But Cody, first and a second for a 605. Where does that fall for you?
First, I apologize. I saw 6 and thought we were drafting 6 rounds deep in a rookie draft. Oh boy, I was pretty stunned by that one. Typically, though, I think that's the range where you start to kind of get flat, just off the top of my head of knowledge of where ADP currently aligns. And I'm perfectly fine in startup, just getting out for the liquid first and second. I can reinvest that wherever, whenever I please. Doesn't really affect all of my roster builds. So, yeah, first and second for me is probably where we're at. What do we have on the ADP side of things?
Yeah, so I'm just going to run through the whole 6th round. Rashad White, 108, James Cook, Jordan Addison, Isaiah Pacheco, George Pickens, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson, Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce, and Bryce Young. Give me a first and a second over any of those cats.
Any of them, any league, any format.
Yeah, good work, T. Good work. Okay, let's block off the next half hour to chat this one out. The old GOAT rings, a 12-team best ball, full PPR, start 11, 175 tight end premium. We'll go into context after, but again, 10-team, start 11, best ball, PPR, 175 tight end premium. One side of the ledger, we got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Kenny Pickett, Zay Flowers, Cole Kmet, Kenny Walker, Zach Charbonnet, your boy Zach Charbonnet, and a 25 first. On the other side, we got Matt Stafford, TJ Hawkinson, CJ Stroud, 3-8, 1-9, and 1-2. Cody, I need a damn calculator. I need a spreadsheet. Where does your mind immediately go looking at this?
I need an abacus. I think that's the word of those old-timey calculator things. Yeah. I mean, this I need a piece of paper. I need to sit down. I might need an entire Excel spreadsheet to really analyze this one from the top. But we'll try, and let's get into it. So Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud. Me personally, I know the dynasty landscape differs a little bit there, but I would say I can wash those out at that point. Stafford is well over Kenny Pickett as we're just trying to go through the quarterback, so I can't really do that one. Let's go to the big other heavy hitters. And I'm just going to try to stay on this bottom side because I think I can cross things out a little bit easier down here. 102 for Jamar Chase wouldn't be me. I'd probably have to throw in like a Cole Kmet on top of it, but I could kind of see where you could get there if you think that you could get a Marvin Harrison Jr. So maybe a little bit of interest there. TJ Hawkinson, that 1 year of just pretty much lost production as we kind of assume it to be now, probably worth, let's say, 25 first, and we'll throw in a Zach Charbonnet on top. 109 for Zay Flowers, and now I'm left with a Ken Walker on the top. Maybe Matt Stafford didn't get thrown in there as much, so he could kind of balance out Ken Walker. I think it's actually overall fairly okay in terms of value, which is pretty interesting from a deal that's this large. But still, if you're going to ask me to pick a side on it, you're giving me a Burrow and Chase stack.
Yeah.
And it's the best ball league, right? Where I'm getting 8 pieces and you're getting 6.
Yeah.
Come on, give me top side.
Yeah. Yeah. So I try to do the same thing, try to cross things off, try to figure things out. I mean, so Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud, Pickett, and Stafford. I want the Stroud and Stafford side. So yeah, let's throw in that Zach Charbonnet. So Joe, Zach, and Pickett for Stroud and Stafford. I probably still want this side, but that's close enough to cross off. 109 Flowers. I don't want 175. Yeah. Flowers for 109. Sure. TJ Hawkinson. Again, that year of lost production, right? What is that worth? So Hawkinson for Komet and Kenny Walker. Does that get you there for Hawkinson? I know that we're probably lower on Hawkinson than market.
True.
Right.
And if you have the right format, right league where you want to tank for a year, like I think it's fair.
Right. So sending away like Kenny Walker and Komet, I feel like that's not going to go through. So that's probably not the math. But either way, if you call that even somewhat close, it's still Jamar Chase and a first for 102 and 308.
It's the Chase thing that throws me off every time when I'm trying to piece this out together.
It's the Chase of it all. Yeah. I like the quarterback, what Krogan did with the quarterbacks. I like if I'm punting or, looking to the future, which it looks like you're getting an awful lot of production and just people and getting picks back. So I like getting Hawkinson back there. I love getting the 102 back. But if you're telling me Chase or 102, I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels if I do a 1-for-1 there. So I'm going to need something else on top of that 102 to move Chase. And I don't think you really did that there. I don't know why that first came back. I think that's what throwing me off.
I don't understand the first either. One thing I will give to it, maybe just like if I could fully get to a point of actually taking the deal. If my only quarterback is Joe Burrow, and now I have Matthew Stafford, I have CJ Stroud, and I have the 102 to pick another quarterback, and I could take a Caleb there. Does that start to flip the equation for you at all? Because now I'm I just built out my entire QB room whenever I only had Joe Burrow and a failure of Kenny Pickett. Now I have an entire QB room. But then again, it's 10 team as we're looking up here, and it's best ball, so I don't really care about the high-end assets of it.
Yeah.
Difficult for me to get there. I was trying to make an argument for it, but I don't think I did.
Here's like, if we just kind of take a snapshot, it's an 8 for 6 in a best ball league. So, okay. I mean, as I was talking that out, right, I'm like, okay, like if I'm punting, like I can see maybe trying to get a Hawkinson, but you're also sending away your first and getting a Matt Stafford back. So that math doesn't really equal up for me either. If you're giving me all of these pieces in best ball, especially with the first and Chase and Burke, like I can make that work. Give me the goat ring side, but let's look at the old context here, see if that. So I have 101. So Goat Rings has 101 already, and they're looking to take Caleb, but could also take Marv. They needed a wide receiver to feel good, adding Flowers and Chase, tearing down from Stroud to Burrow and the first. That's how they broke it down for Stroud, for Burrow and a first. I mean, if you can get Burrow and a first for Stroud 17 days a week, like sign me up.
I mean, I think we have gotten to full mania mode, and I love CJ Stroud. He is my team's quarterback. But come on, like what I'm seeing straight up trades for Josh Allen swaps. Like it has hit an all-time mania level because of that Stephon Diggs edition. Guess what? He's not going to throw for 6,000 yards because they got Stephon Diggs.
No. And that 102 was Krogan's pick. So they gave that 102 back and got their 25 first. So now they're just hoping that they can repeat that cycle. So Goat Rings, you did it again. Good work. I guess keep it up. You did it again. The Goat Rings man did it again. Old Big Diaz Energy, 12-team Superflex, start 11. Good Lord, we got some settings. Tiered PPR, so 0.5 running back, 1 for wide receiver, 175 for tight end. Some passing, first down, bonuses. We'll go through the team in a second. Cody, Josh Dobbs, Astro Dobbs, 103, a 25, third, and fourth. Or Derek Carr, Drizzy Drake London, 4-1, 4-7, 3-6, 3-11. And then a 2-3 and a 2-10. I'll tell you this, okay? So 12 teams, start 11. Even in that format, you can cross off the fourth. the fourth, cross out the thirds. 311, who cares? Okay. Josh Dobbs in 103 or Drake London, Derek Carr in 23210.
It's interesting here. I actually think that there's more legitimacy to the Drake London side that I initially thought that I would say here.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a 2-3 and 210. You also have a bunch of other darts, which truthfully, end of day, like you said, you could probably cross out. But at least if it was to, you maybe hit on one, and you might have a little bit of value there if you need to fill out the back end of your lineup. It's truthfully just the 103, though, right? Like, how much do you really value that 103, and what's the difference between Drake London and that pick currently? What's that pick? Is it a wide receiver? Is it a quarterback? But I like what's happening in Atlanta with Drake London right now, and I like getting Derek Carr back a lot more than I do Josh Dobbs, even though it is a nice quarterback backup to have if you're trying to build out that strategy. Going to give you 2 seconds on top of it. But I think I might go a little bit against consensus here and go Drake London in this package side and just flush out the bottom of my roster with a bunch of darts that could potentially flip. Drake London a 203, a 210. It might not be enough for most people, but depending on how the lineup's built, I could actually see that being the way I go.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's too spicy at all. I think we can all agree 103 over Drake London pretty soundly. I think there's a reality where Drake London can outscore 103 if the situation, like we think it will ramp up, but I'll still take 103 over London. But then it's like Josh Dobbs and Derek Carr. Really, like Derek Carr is the current starter and Josh Dobbs is the backup quarterback in the right situation that you want. I think that's closer than what people will think. But if you're giving me 2 seconds in the pocket to figure that out, like you said, one of those darts could pay off. One of those darts could pay off, right? You can probably use that third more in season than you can any of these picks here. If I have all of these picks, I'm trying to find a way to package it all up and send it off for something that I actually want. It's a good deal. But what is it? What are we at? It's a
we got a little bit more context, right?
12 teams start. Let's look at the context now. Yeah, 12 teams start 11 Superflex. Okay, so the current team: Deshaun Watson and Cans. So they're sending away Derek Carr on that team, getting back Josh Dobbs in the 103. So I assume that 103 is going to be Jaden Daniels, Drake May, whatever quarterback falls into the right situation.
Yep.
Mixon, Warren, Cans, you're still there. Chase, Ayuk, Nico, Pickens, Lockett, QJ, and Treylon. You had to list that QJ and Treylon there. Laporta at tight end. So we have 103, 211, 301, 25 first, loaded with seconds and thirds and fourths and 25. So sending away all of these picks don't mean a lot because you have a lot of those in the bank, but still they probably don't mean a lot to anyone. 103 is the best asset in the deal, but I'm going to take the London side of this. I don't think with this team, I don't know if you really made yourself better. I think that 103 could help, but you're kind of boxing yourself into a corner with that 103, which is not really how I want to use that 103. I think London does have that elite outcome. I think 203 and 210, I can do more with that in Carr than I can Josh Dobbs and the rest of the package. So good deal. I'll take London here.
Yeah, you have the potential to make yourself better with the 103, but you're still betting on a rookie QB more than likely. Now, if we have another plan on top of this, let's use some of those 25 seconds, thirds, and let's use this 103 to go get myself up into that top elite tier of quarterback. Mm-hmm. I think the evaluation shifts there. Yeah. And I think you need to make another deal on top of this one for me to really be behind it.
Correct. Yeah. This is one of those have a plan. If you have a plan with it, I'm fine. You're sending a lot of junk away for a solid asset in 103. So I don't mind that. I'm still going to lean package, but it's what comes down to the final iteration of that deal. So good work. Okay. 12 teams, super flex. Start 11. Must start 5 wide receivers, Cody. It's a 4-point passing touchdown and a 1-5 tight end premium. On one side of the ledger, we have James Conner, and Christian Kirk for Deshaun Watson and Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, so Scott Connor and Christian Kirk, Deshaun Watson and Tucker Kraft.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm on the Scott Connor and Christian Kirk side of this. I have Josh on the brain apparently. I'm on the Connor and Kirk side of this. I mean, I think Watson's chronically undervalued in Dynasty at this point, but he still falls into that range of replaceability at quarterback that I can construct around. Tucker Kraft does not move the needle enough for me in a 1-5 tight end premium. Whereas I'm getting Kirk, who I think is a threshold receiver plus with some opportunity as currently constructed, and James Conner, who has just been a hammer. And until the wheels fall off, I'm just going to assume he's going to keep falling into the end zone. So
I think the context on this one is a big thing too, because look at those quarterbacks that he's currently rostering. I mean, Deshaun Watson's never going to crack your lineup unless you take an injury. And if we go with the cans method of just having a bunch of backups as well, you don't need a Deshaun Watson on this team. So that's a perfect thing where you can actually build, I think, a pretty good win now team with what assets you currently have here. Yeah, give me Kirk and give me James Conner.
Yeah, old Jimmy James Conner. And I like the running back room and kind of the tiered approach you've gone here. You got Monty, Connor, Spears, and then Cans. Lamb, Ayuk, Terry, Godwin, Deontay, Kirk in as your wide receiver 6 in a start 5 league. I like that. I think the must start 5 really plays a factor in this for me, but even without that context, I want that side. So good work, Lorenzo. Here's where we started, Cody. Anything else we want to add on this one? Kyle, now that we've come back to it, 10 teams start 10, Kyler and Raw over Burrow, Moore, and Achane.
I don't really have anything else here if you want to break down a little bit more, but no, I'm still on the ARSB side. That's basically where I sit.
Yeah, I want to take one more face look at it. I still want ASRB. Like Kyler and Burrow cross them off, I'll still take ARSB. I'll go down with that ship, Cody.
Ooh.
All right, 12 teams start 10 super flex, no tight end premium, 0.5 PPR. One side sends away Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson. The other side gets back Trevor Lawrence, Smitty, a 26 first, a 25 first, the 110, a 25 second, and the 305. Cody, you have your calculator out still?
No, I put away the abacus. It has been sent back to the land of the time whenever it existed. It does not currently need. Give me those settings one more time because this is completely dependent upon that.
Yes. 12 by 10 super flex, 0.5 PPR, no tight end premium.
Is it deep? The question is just, is it deep enough to not care about sending away 7 premium assets or 6 premium assets to get 2? But man, it's Burrow and Justin Jefferson. And I know there's some panic on Justin Jefferson right now. But if I want to calculate it up, let's go Justin Jefferson for 3 first, 2 and 25 at a 110. We can go Joe Burrow for Tlaw, Devonta Smith, the 2 and the 3. I think it's still shallow. It's not shallow. This is your standard type of league, at least what I would consider standard. But man, give me the 2. I like Joe Burrow and I like Justin Jefferson a lot more than I do anything on the other side.
Yeah. So I think about this from almost a war perspective. Like at quarterback, I want at least one guy that can break into that elite outcome. I think Burrow is that. I think Lawrence is just cemented into that quarterback 12 to 16 range. Quarterback I want for construction, but I'll take Burrow over Lawrence 26 first in the 110. Something like that. That's probably fair. I'll take that. Then you're left with, Justin Jefferson for Smitty, 25 first, a second, and a third. The second and third feel like a bit of fodder. Not nothing, but not nothing that's really moving the needle for me. I like Smitty. I like Jefferson better. And I think I'll take the bet on a first to move up to Jefferson in a 12 by 10. If this is a 12 by 12, I feel a lot differently. If this is a 14-teamer, that doesn't totally change it for me. But yeah, I'm going to take Burrow and Jefferson. Bet that I can get this return anytime I want. And I'll just take the hammers.
Can I throw you one more twist to it? Potential twist to make this a little bit different. Yeah. What if we same exact settings, but it's best ball? 12 team, start 10, best ball.
I can see that a lot more, right? Because the gaps between the players become smaller. Smitty and a first for Jefferson, I feel a lot better about that. I can do more with the first. Lawrence, again, he fits that construction, but it's Lawrence and then all of this where those thirds, those dart throws, they matter a lot more in best ball. I like that more in best ball in any kind of lineup situation. I'm just going to lean the hammers.
Yep, I'm with you.
Yeah, cool. Cool. One more thing. Probably was not competing. So are you taking this package if you're not competing, or are you just going to hang on to the best assets in the deal?
Unfortunately, I don't think that breaks the difference for me. Like, honestly, like I don't need to. There's no age concern with me. Justin Jefferson's 25.
Hmm.
Joe Burrow's still in his basically first year contract right now as well. So,
Hmm.
or it is rookie contract as well. So, man, like those aren't the type of assets that if my roster's completely gutted and I need to break it down into a bunch of things, I'm actually okay with that. But if it's just that if it's anything about that I need to get younger, I need to do anything else like that, like obviously that shouldn't be your expectation with doing this trade. I could see it though if like the only two assets you have on your team are Burrow and Jefferson and you just need the
Right.
tier downs because in a 12 team start 10 it does get to the point where you have to eventually build out some depth.
Right. You take over a nuclear rebuild orphan. I can see myself doing this kind of a deal. And if I'm on the other side, if I'm acquiring Burrow and Jefferson, I'm assuming I'm ready to go. I will send this kind of a package for 2 hammers most
Yep.
days of the week. So I bet there's a way that deal works out for both sides. I'm just going to lean the best players. Roly Sage, 12 team start 10, 2 quarterback, Cody, 2 tight end, and a 2.0 tight end premium. Ooh, love those twos.
Mm.
We'll get into the context in a second. Sending away Dak Prescott, TJ Hawkinson, DK Metcalf, and a first for Stroud and the 112. So in a 12 team start 10, 2 QB, 2 tight end. I'll tell you this, Cody. Dak, a first, and Hawkinson in a 12 by 10, 2 tight end league. I would move my Stroud for that. Metcalf and 112, I'd want Metcalf. Without context, in a two quarterback, 2 tight end league, I am taking the package here. Without context, Cody, let's scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, like hide it a bit.
Yeah, where are you at?
Because I just immediately jump back up to where's that context at?
Yes.
And the context doesn't even matter for me. I'm still on the receive side. I'm still on Dak Prescott. Give me the package for the CJ Stroud. Give me DK Metcalf over the 112. Whichever way you kind of align this thing, obviously you're taking a tier down from Dak Prescott to CJ Stroud. There's no more upside that Dak Prescott really exists with. Like he is what he is, and as long as he keeps playing and producing at the level that he's producing at, he's going to sit in that kind of like QB 11 to 15 range year over year over year until he's not anymore. CJ Stroud holds a definite more upside. But you put in the context of this, and I'll just jump into it now. You other QBs, I mean, what a QB horde we've got going on here. You got Ertz, Kyler, A-Rich, Herbert, 101. So you can have Caleb if you want him to. And you had Stroud. Like, what are you doing to this league? What quarterbacks are they playing with? Half of your league is playing with backups. Half of your league can't even start 2 QB in a 2 QB.
Yeah. This just feels like playing with your food a little bit, right? Like you just send that 112, get a 25 first back, just instant profit. And then you get 2 starters and a Dak back for Stroud. I'll tell you what, if I have this team, I don't even want a Dak back. Give me something different back. But still.
Let's turn Dak into like a CeeDee Lamb or something, you know, like let's just go straight to the wide receiver range and just flip it into that because there's no way you're ever starting all of these quarterbacks over the course of a year. But insane team. And Marvin Harrison 101. I'm not leaning into the QB horde anymore.
No, correct. Yeah. Get Prescott and Metcalf, squish that into a better wide receiver, and I'm much more okay with it. Even without that, still give me the package. Good work. Way to control your league and keep it up. We got a couple here, Cody. Field deals that we've made. Start 11. This one's a start 11. This one's a start 10. And they're all 2-team leagues. Okay. So in a start 11, 12-team start 11, Nico Collins and a first or Addison and 111. I mean,
inherent value with pushing your 111 to the 25 first, Nico and Addison, but still probably have Nico over, but I could consider it a wash. You push it into a liquid asset, give me the 25 first and Nico side.
Yeah, there's not much more I need to go into there. Addison and Collins, take your pick. I'll lean Collins, and I'll always lean a future first over the 111. Good work there. This 12-team start 10. We got 2 seconds or McLaurin and Chandler. One's a 25, one's a 26 first. I want the 26 first well over Chandler, and I'd pay a 25 first to get McLaurin. So this is interesting. In a start 10, Cody, where do you come down? God, that's small on the screen.
I think I actually don't know. I think this is maybe a team dependent one, hard to evaluate within a vacuum. Because I think that's a fair price. I actually just think that's a fair square deal. Like I could see Ty Chandler. I don't think he's exactly worth a second right now, but I think he could get back to that point within the time that you're making these picks. Terry McLaurin is in that weird kind of like, is he a second? He's not a third, but I don't also want to pay a high end second for him. But he doesn't have really, it doesn't feel like upside anymore, but he's got a new offensive system, a new quarterback coming in with him. I'll take the players on this one. Yeah. But I could understand very easily taking the other side and just getting out as well.
I agree. Very square deal at the end of the day. I'll lean McLaurin. I'm probably higher on market on McLaurin than most are. So I'll take the players. That's a square deal, and depending on what you're trying to do and where your team is, I can see both sides of that one. And finally, 12-team start 10. JMO and a 25 first, or Devontae Smith, Jaleel McLaughlin. I think that's how you say his name. And the 303. Cody, we love Jaleel. We love the efficiency. You know, I know you're maybe not all the way there after our late night VC chat the other day. 303. Okay. JMO in a first for Smitty. I feel like I would pay that just for Smitty alone. And then you're giving me a running back in the third. I'm going to take the Smitty side of this one.
Yeah, the way I break this one down is Smitty or the 25 first, and JMO, his own team thinks he might become a starter. So give me Jaleel McLaughlin over JMO, give me the third over JMO, and then I'm left with Devonta Smith and the 25 first, and I'll definitely take Smitty there. So, and unfortunately on this one, I got to go on the Sen side because if you have some conviction in JMO, I can understand where that deal makes sense, but I think we're both just completely out. So it kind of gets dismissed with where we're at.
We're not the ones to pump up a JMO trade, unfortunately, but no, good deals. I mean, a good free banger trade there. You love to see it. We got 12-team start 10 Superflex PPR. Oh, there's quarterbacks, Hurt and Stroud. So many Hurts and Stroud, and like just a lot of quarterback boards we're seeing here. So Kitty's crew received Noah Fant, Chris Olave, and the 109. They sent away Jordan Love, 2.8, and the 406. I don't see a tight end premium. I like Noah Fant. I like Olave. I like the 109. I like Jordan Love. 4.6, whatever. 2.8 is an absolute dark throw. I like 2.8 over Fant.
Agreed.
Right? Without no tight end premium, I like that. If it's best ball, I still lean the pick, but I'm closer. So really, Olave and the 1.9, we're loving the 4.6, Cody.
That's where I get to. I'm torn on that one, honestly, because I really do. While we were earlier saying we haven't really bought fully into the Jordan Love hype, but it's also 109 and Chris Olave, and Olave hasn't done anything to really live up to his hype either. I think I still lean 109 and Olave, though, because if there's the chance that I could maneuver around within the draft, like if you put that as Chris Olave, and I don't like putting players to picks, but if I was to do it, if it's Chris Olave and JJ McCarthy for Jordan Love, do you feel a little bit better about that? What would that look like in your brain? That's how I'm imagining it in my mind of where I would want to sit on this one.
This is one of those deals I want to understand the why behind it before I really lean one or the other. And looking at the context, if I have Ertz and Stroud, Love can go. If that means I can get a possible elite outcome wide receiver, a first that I can probably do way more with than a second and a fourth, and then Noah Fant, who is a perfect just tight end to plop onto my roster, but doesn't really move the needle in a trade. So with the context, I could see getting Olave and like that 109. I'm not, like if I have Ertz and Stroud, I'm not fiending for JJ. I'd probably more so lean like a Brian Thomas Jr. or one of those running backs that land in a great spot, or that wide receiver that lands in Buffalo. I think I could freak that side more, and I think Olave fits my construction better. So given the context, I'll take the Olave on the first side. But if I'm a quarterback needy team and I can trade away a wide receiver who's probably been frustrating for me so far, Noah Fant and a 1.9, and I can get up to Jordan Love get a pick back, and then I just have to take back that 4-6. I can't do the deal without getting that 4-6 back, Cody. So
hey, got to squeeze the juice out of everything within the rind.
just
I agree with you though. Once you put in context, I do think I would probably lean left side here, but I could see this being just a good trade for both sides. Square deal, like this one.
Good deal. All right, we got a 4-banger here from Logan. No context, so hate to see it. 102 or Bryce Young and 1-8. Let's call it a 12-team start 11, Cody.
Doesn't matter, 102. 102. Unless it's one QB, 102. And then that's even worse, 102.
So it's 102, irregardless. Love it. Nico and Bryce Young. God, that Bryce Young's moving, hey? Or Jalen Waddle and James Cook. It's close.
Hard to do with no context here as we're going through
12
this one.
teams start 11.5.
Nico Waddle wash. It's got to be super flex to even compare Bryce Young and James Cook, in my opinion. Yeah. Square deal, honestly. I don't really see too much of a leverage side in this one. I think it's just whether you want Bryce Young or James Cook to fit your roster construction. I actually don't have a way that I would lean on this one without any further context.
I agree. You got 2 wide receivers who are in good offenses, but with people there who you would love if they're not there for your opportunity. And then, Bryce Young or James Cook, choose your need. I agree. Square deal. If I was put in a vacuum, I'll take the Waddle and Cook side because I don't have a lot of Waddle and Cook personally, and I bet I could do something with that. So.
I would actually take Nico and Young just because it's a quarterback and he has the potential to get way higher than James Cook ever does.
Oh, I fully agree with that. I'm just going to take the bet that Young doesn't do that in this league, or like I said, it looks like I can't tell. Did you get Young and then send him away? Because that would be something.
Completely different name, profile picture, no idea to even give that.
There you go. Oh. Daniel Jones, the 2-8.
There is a world, as much as I don't like saying it, but as much as we give to this like Fields narrative jump in value, at one point last year, Daniel Jones was a top 12 quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There is a world, and people still hate him, so the market is nowhere near similar about just the likability factor, the tradability factor. But there's a world where they don't take a quarterback, and he comes back off this ACL injury, and with a revamped team can actually put something together, it'd be much higher than the 208.
Revamped team, revamped neck, revamped knee,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say that I would still rather take the 208, and depending on team settings, I probably do just take the 208 and take the bailout, but there's still some hope with Daniel Jones. So I actually don't mind taking the shot if I'm flush with assets and I'm not getting anything better at the 208.
Yeah. This is the bet that Daniel Jones is starting and going to get me points. It's a fair price to pay if you're making that bet. I'm going to lean the second, but I can see a world where you make that deal and you're happy you did at the end of the day. So cool. Finally, Deshaun Watson, JSN, and the 208, Drake London and the 112. Cody, 12 team start 11.
Okay.
I think I know where I'm at, but I want to know where you're at.
I'm going to lean with the quarterback here. The Drake London and the 112 isn't enough for me. Let's say we even just straight swap Watson and London here. Then we go JSN and for the 112, and I'm getting a second back on top of it. Yeah, I'm going to lean into the piece that has 3 on this one and just bet that JSN and Drake London are a little bit more than equal. And if I break it down that way, if you're washing out a JSN and Drake London, there's no shot that you're getting the Deshaun Watson and a 2 for the 112 on top of it. So I'm on package receive side here.
Yeah, I'm seeing a bit of a theme of just like making bets right on player outcomes here, which you can play that way. I think now is the time to make those bets. 112 and JSN feels about a fair place to cross it off. I know people, me included, have tried to make that trade and either been rejected or it's gotten done. JSN and 112, I think you can cross that off. Watson and 208 are London. I'm going to assume that Watson falls into that range of quarterbacks where I can construct around it. I'll take the elite outcome wide receiver in London here. I think 208's a pretty low cost plus to add on to a Watson to get there. On the right team, I'm making the deal for Watts or for London in the first most times. But again, if a certain team need a quarterback flush with wide receiver, happy to make that deal for Watts, and if that makes sense for my team. But in a vacuum, I'll lean London.
Yeah, I think this is one where like we're opposed on sides, but context would definitely probably lean us to be on the same side of that one. I think it's close, but definitely need a little bit more context to figure that one out.
Correct. Oh Lord, we got an old Royal Rumble trade here
There's
between
one of ours.
Snakes and Old B. So Brandon sent away Joe Burrow, James Conner, and Dalton Kincaid. Sammy Snakes gave up Lamar Jackson, Deebo Samuel, the 323 and the 328. So Cody, hit us with the Royal Rumble settings super quick. Give a little context on the league, and then we'll break this one down.
2014 best ball. I always forget whether it is start 11 or start 12, but
start 11.
Start 11. Okay. So then we have the tight end premium 1.75 on top of that as well. It's an incredibly grindy league. It is 25-man rosters. So literally waivers are wide open. They're changing each and every week. One of our most premier leagues, and we just got a full revamp of the league to where we now have 24 active managers within it as well, which I do think actually kind of changes some things too, because you do have a little bit more tradability within the league as well. So it's the league that I won last year, and it's near and dear to my heart. It is where, I just have to throw that one out there. You can't talk about Royal Rumble and not do it. So
who'd you beat in the final, Cody? Who'd you beat in the final?
Oh, it might have been the guy above me right here. It might have been whenever my team just decided to go 290 per week whenever it was in the playoff run. It was just an insane run to put together that championship. But let's get back to the deal. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Definitely want Lamar Jackson more so in this league. I do think we have a little bit juiced up quarterback scoring in there. So I definitely want that side. And then I go to going Deebo Samuel, Dalton Kincaid, and James Conner. I want Kincaid over Deebo Samuel. So I think what I'm kind of looking at here is what is the difference between the Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson tier between the Dalton Kincaid and Deebo Samuel tier. But I don't want to discount the fact that within this best ball league format, the 312, 314. Actually, it's a little bit of value, but you start getting into a range whenever it's a 14-team, 28-man league and double copy. Those picks start to get really bad. Like those are mid-fourth picks, really. So I don't even really value those too much at all. I'm actually going to be on top side. I'm going to be on Burrow, Kincaid, and James Conner here. That's kind of the side that I want. So I align with Sammy Snakes, even though MFL tries to do that reverse mind trickery on you every time you look at one of these deals.
I know it's the gave up piece, but that always gets me right. But shout out to Berserker. He shouted out in the YouTube comments of how to really read this. So we got to go in forward. We are locked in. I'm with you. I think league context matters here. Like I said, best ball 2014 2 copy. 25 bench spots plays a factor here because every bench spot matters. You don't want just a bunch of things that can't fit in your lineup, or you have to figure out which one you want to cut. So those 2/3, you're going to have to choose those players in a couple weeks and put those into your lineup. So you better have a bad team that can actually have that. I lean Lamar over Burrow because of the rushing upside and the point per carry in the league, the points for rushing first down and all that. Same reason why I lean James Conner over those thirds easily. Even though James Conner is old, he will still do the thing, I think, in this league. Kincaid, 175 tight end premium, plus the look at the increased opportunities with the current construction of the Bills offense. I'll lean Kincaid over Deebo due to age, due to flexibility. So yeah, give me the top side, but that might be someone overvaluing Lamar Jackson in the format, maybe, because I don't think Lamar and Burrow are any more flexible than the other. So I'm good enough to cross it off, and then I'm just going to take the bet on Kincaid and Conner over Deebo in the picks.
Yeah, I think that's where I get to as well. It's just like I obviously want Lamar over Burrow, but the delta between everything else isn't enough to make up the difference, but I don't think it's a bad deal by any means. I think both sides could win this, especially if you do actually use the picks for anything else. But I would have to lean just within the vacuum. You got to lean on that Joe Burrow side here for me.
Yeah. All right, we'll get one more. Looks like got a second or Frymuth and a fourth. You know what, Peter, no context. I like getting a second over Frymuth and a fourth, but if that's a tight end premium, who knows?
It gets something a little bit more spicy.
Yeah, we're not ending on a Pat Frymuth trade. I'll tell you that for free. Kyler Murray, Ayuk, Levis second. That's all right. Here we go. This is the one.
Yep,
This is the one
that's
here,
it.
Cody. All right. So what's the context here? Dealt CD. That's the context that we dealt CD. All right. So we'll call it standard 12 teams, start 11. Okay. Puka Nakua, Zay Flowers, Chase Brown, the market mover, Chase Brown, 26 seconds, 226 seconds for CD Lamb and the 204.
Ooh.
Cody Smith.
Okay. So we got to play off of what we know. 12 teams, start 10, start 11, lineup, Superflex, something like that. So
Yeah.
I can probably go, let's say 204 second. I don't really want to go second and Chase Brown. This is just CD Lamb. This is just a CD Lamb deal for me. I don't even know where I cross off the 204 here, but CD Lamb for Puka, Zay Flowers, Chase Brown, second and second. Although they are 2026, you're pushing them out a little bit further than I would like right now. But guess what? 3 weeks from now, whenever we're post 2024 draft, you start acquiring 2026 seconds and actually realizing them as true NFL picks. So, like, I actually don't mind picking up 2 of those right now in a time where 2026 is so far away. I'm probably not even going to live to 2026. And then 3 weeks from now, we're acquiring those picks as this year's 2025. So I do actually like that. I'm gonna go package. I mean, this one is completely roster size dependent for me. Once you start moving into like the start 9, start 8, obviously I'd probably want to go to the CD Lamb side. But once you start going 10, 11, 12, I probably want package side. There's a lot here that I can work with, both 26 first or 26 seconds over 204 that I have to make a pick on. Zay Flowers, who I think eventually just falls into a flat tier range. Yeah. So I think even though he falls into that, I'm probably taking the package here because I do love what I can see with Puka Nakua, what I can do with the 2 seconds, what I can potentially do with Chase Brown if he does get into that spot. It's completely roster size dependent for me, but in vacuum, I'll take package.
Yeah. Like if we're talking like a start 14, this isn't close. If we're talking a start 9, it's a hell of a lot closer, like a start 9, start 8. But I'm breaking this down. Yeah, like Chase Brown for 204. I'm not there yet on Chase Brown. I'll still lean the 2-4. 226 seconds for a 204. I'd consider that on the right roster and most rosters there. Chase Brown in a 26 second for 204. I'd probably lean the Brown side of that. But no matter how you figure out those seconds in Chase Brown, it's the Puka of it all for me. I think Puka still gives you that elite production outcome. Yes. Puka was a late round draft pick. Yes. At one point, you could acquire Puka for a straight second. Yes, that is reality.
Waiver wire pickup.
Waiver wire pickup. Yep. Yes, Stafford could fall off the earth tomorrow. I don't really care on that piece. I mean, CD Lamb is CD Lamb, and CD Lamb is hard to acquire. So good work getting CD Lamb. But unless it's a very specific context, I'm going to lean the package because Puka is just too short of a step down to then give up Zay Flowers, Chase Brown in 2 seconds, which I know if that's you or me, we got a couple of the deals lined up here where we're moving half those pieces in that package to get something we really want, right?
Yep. Or you're just pushing the liquidity out and saying, I can acquire whatever I want. I can buy at opportune times, and I could probably get another 2 Zay Flowers-like players with those 26 firsts over the next 2 years. And you're going to give me what potentially is replacement production with Puka. So that's where you have to go on that one. Obviously, though, like if you get into start 8, I could see a completely different breakdown of that trade.
Yeah. Puka and Lamb were just too close for me to really feel differently on that. So decent deal. I'll still take the Puka side of that one, but good stuff. So Cody, we did it. An hour in the books. We got people an hour. Listen, there's trades popping off in your 24/7, 365. So come on in. If you want to be part of the best crew in Dynasty football, period, patreon.com/allgas. Head on over to destinationdebbie.com for all the great tools and resources. More tools to come, fun stuff. If you want more on that and just really want to be a part of, again, the best place to watch the NFL draft, make sure you're tapped into the Destination Debbie draft stream. And if you want to be entered into some of the incredible giveaways, if you want Discord memberships, Patreon memberships, just want to be part of the crew, or if you want to have a deposit match on Underdog, minimum 10 up to 100, code DDD on Underdog to get $10 match. You get the free copy of the Destination Debbie Draft Guide. You get entry into all these prizes. Cody, is there a better deal?
Absolutely not. And then you get entry into, I mean, if you do it right, I mean, you can max out the little board right now if you have the time. If you want to take on doing 20 live drafts over the next couple of days, as you're probably hearing this one, we'll see when it fills. But any of these little board tournaments that you want to max out, if you want to just throw like 5 entries into a big board as well, I mean, you can win up to $1 million freaking dollars if you just put in $100 right now using that promo code DDD, and you get so many more chances because you are able to up that number to a $200 if you were to put in a full $100. So it is definitely the best deal in all of fantasy right now. And be sure, all 3 days of the draft stream, we're going to be going live over 15 hours of coverage. I think you and me will both be on that third day, probably holding down the fort for a good bit of it. It'll be an absolutely fun time. Honestly, for some reason, this week I thought it was next weekend, and I've just been informed that it is not this next weekend. It is 2 weeks from now. So I was already so stoked about it that I was thinking it was this weekend and planning all of my things around it. Got to figure out what I'm doing next week now.
Well, you have more time in the calendar now. Happy for you on that. Hopefully, I don't know, go for a walk, get some sun. Who knows? If you found this actionable, entertaining, what have you, hit the like, hit subscribe, tap in for everything Destination Debbie. Again, we're going to steer in the right direction. Like, you're going to have a fun time. You're going to learn something, and you'll probably be a better Dynasty player because of it. So stay tapped in. Have a great one. We out of this thing. Peace.